All right, Rip City, we're back with another episode of the Rip City Roundtable podcast. I am your host, Corey Dickman, and I'm flying solo, eating at the Thanksgiving Roundtable all by myself. But it's okay, because we're going to talk some Blazers, so it doesn't matter if I'm by myself or if you're listening or if we had 9 guests with us. We're going to talk some basketball, talk some Rip City. As a quick recap of the week, today is Tuesday, November 26th. We're 2 days out from Thanksgiving here, and we're just going to go through quickly the week that was. Last time we talked, the last episode, when we chatted here, the Blazers 3-game winning streak. I mean, it was like very unexpected. We had an NBA Cup victory in there against the Timberwolves. The Blazers had really found this starting lineup that looked really good with Scoot, Shaedon, Tumani, Jeremy Grant, Donovan Clingan, the big 7th first-round pick in the draft, in the weak NBA draft this past season, this past draft, that now, I don't know, starting to look pretty good. They had found a good rhythm. And so the Blazers, just a quick recap of the 4 games, not great record-wise, but let's dive in. So the Blazers played the Thunder, lose 109-99 to a Thunder team that arguably is probably going to be in the finals, right? Is probably going to represent the Western Conference this season. The Blazers hung with them. Hartenstein came back for the Thunder, made a huge impact in that game. And then the Blazers, the biggest difference was Scoot got injured in the game against the Hawks and did not play against the Thunder. Anfernee Simons, who had been injured for the last week or plus 2 weeks, week, that allowed Scoot to start in the starting lineup. Simons comes back and takes his place. I'm sorry, he got injured in the Oklahoma City game. My apologies. He plays in the OKC game, plays well. The Blazers hang with the Thunder. Like I said, Hartenstein comes back. The Thunder look like a more complete team with Hartenstein there. Like, let's be real. He was a free agent signing over the summer that really helped complete that Thunder team. Scoot gets injured in that game. Okay. The Blazers drop it to the Thunder 109-99. Then comes the game we needed Scoot for, because if we're being honest, and I'm going to talk about these later, the NBA Cup games are what matter, right? Like, we need to not finish very well this season, but if we could win the NBA Cup, hey, at least there's something to look forward to. So we come down to Texas, my neck of the woods here. The Blazers play the Rockets. We don't have Scoot, so we've lost that cohesive starting lineup that I mentioned at the top, right? Your Scoot, Shaedon, Tumani, Jeremy Grant, Donovan Clingan. Scoot's out. Simons is now back, which is great. We need Anfernee, right? Anfernee is probably arguably our best player, right? At least best offensive player. Simons comes in, and we just don't look good, right? The Rockets come to play. They've been playing really well this season. They're loaded. So much talent on the Rockets, probably too much talent. And the Blazers just get wiped, which sucked, because it's like, this is an NBA Cup game. The Rockets were 1-0 in the standings as far as the Cup goes. So it would have been a nice win. It would have put the Blazers at 2-0 in Cup standings, which would have put them in an awesome position to win the group. Instead, they get destroyed. Not great. Scoot's injured. So we lose that game, and then we come back the very next night, which is like probably going to be another slaughter, because now it's not even a Cup game anymore. And what did the Blazers do? They go and win the game. It was very close, nip and tuck throughout. Simons comes up big, sharp. They combined for 49 points. Jeremy Grant chips in 22. A little action with Dillon Brooks at the end of the game with Shaedon, which was kind of fun. The Blazers win the game. So, okay, we get a dub here. We're not really trying to get W's here unless it's a Cup game, but we win that game. And then we wrap up this past 4-game stretch against the Grizzlies, which is the game you see behind me right now. The last time we played the Grizzlies, not great. Blazers got shelled. It was terrible. It kind of provided this shift when the Blazers then went on that win streak. Wasn't really much better this go around against the Grizzlies. Clingan goes out with an injury. Rob Williams goes out. Clingan's not even playing. Sorry. Rob gets a concussion. Jeremy Grant exits the game. You just start to see all these injuries again. And it's like, dang nabbit. We saw some really good basketball from the Blazers for about a week before this. And now this week, not great. The Blazers go 1-3 in this stretch. They end up losing to the Grizzlies by 25, 123-98. Shaedon still playing. Tumani obviously still playing, which are the bright spots here. And this just kind of leads me to, again, the point of the season, right? At the beginning, at the top, when the season started and we started the podcast back up, it was like, look, guys, look, everybody, Rip City. We have to be patient. We have to be okay with another bad season, right? And that sucked. The first 2 weeks of the season, it was just like, here we go again, just losing games, right? And then that lineup that I talked about earlier came out and played real hard and got some wins. Again, the Timberwolves win, the Atlanta win with that Scoot, Shaedon. I'm going to say it 19 times until you memorize it. Scoot, Shaedon, Tumani, Jeremy Grant, and Donovan Clingan starting lineup. Obviously, you can't forget the bench was playing really well. Delano Banton, Advia was playing really well. But you kind of could see the lineup, and so that was really positive, right? And now we get back kind of down to earth again. The Blazers can't sustain injuries at this point, right? If we were to look at the team right now and actually be critical in the mindset of like, let's pretend like we're trying to do well this season, right? And you wanted to like actually pick them apart. The problem is they're not deep enough, right? Especially with DeAndre Ayton still out. You get an injury or two, it starts to get real thin real fast. And now that's what happened this past week. So we all were excited, right? We were seeing the potential. And now I feel like we've kind of come back down to earth a little bit. But remember, that's a good thing. We need to come back down to earth. We need to lose some of these games. We can't lose sight of the prize, which is an amazing 2025 NBA draft class that we need to hit on, trade away some people, then we see where we're at. So because Thanksgiving is Thursday, we're going to do what we have to be thankful for. And I got 5 things for you. Okay. First off, the first thing that we have to be thankful for is this Shaedon Sharpe, Scoot Henderson pairing, right? This has been the thing we've talked about for 2 years now. Like, can we see these two guys start, play heavy minutes, and the Blazers succeed? And that's what we saw. I mean, again, small sample size. I get it. You're probably screaming at me in your car right now. I understand it's a small sample size, but it's something, okay? And I'll grasp at it. It sucked that we lost Scoot and got that injury. It hasn't come back yet. It's not anything that's like a season ender or nothing like that, right? It's not probably going to be anything that lingers for him, so he's going to be fine. But it would have been nice to see more of that chemistry get built between, honestly, two guys that the Blazers have invested high draft capital in. We have to see what we have there, okay? We have to see what we have in Scoot and in Shaedon. And so that's the first thing I'm thankful for, because they can coexist. Scoot, not a terrible defender. Shaedon is getting better on the defensive end, and they complement each other on offense, right? Shaedon can get his shot anywhere he wants. He can elevate. He can hit the mid-range, a three-point shot. He can obviously finish at the rim. Scoot can do 2 of those 3 things-ish, well, but he's so fast. He can feed Shaedon, gets the rest of the team going. We need those two clicking, and we need to see how they play well together. So Shaedon, just stay healthy, man. Scoot, get back on the court, and I want to see more of that pairing. And honestly, it became almost tough because we were like winning games. So maybe it was like, hey, Scoot, let's take a break, bro. We've seen 3 games. That was enough. Let's take a break and rest for a little bit because we need some more losses here. So maybe that was part of it. I don't know. But anyway, that's the first thing I'm thankful for, is the big question mark. One of the big question marks is, can Shaedon and Scoot coexist and the Blazers be a winning franchise? And at least from this tiny, small sample size, answer's yes, for sure. All right, so those are the guards. Let's go to the bigs, right? The second thing I am thankful for this Thanksgiving season is I think we have our centers. I think Clingan and Rob Williams, I understand if you go back and listen to previous episodes, maybe not even that far back, I was saying, let's trade Rob. And maybe we still need to, because I don't know if he can stay healthy. As we've seen now, he got a concussion. At least it wasn't a lower body injury, which is where a lot of his bad ones have been. But my goodness, when this guy's on the court, you see the difference maker, right? Bill Simmons, right? Big Celtics guy, has his podcast. He used to say, he said that was the hard part of that trade. It wasn't losing Brogdon. It was losing Rob Williams, right? Because when he was on the court, he made a difference. You can see the pairing with Clingan. The Blazers don't skip a beat on defense. And on that offensive efficiency is still there. Clingan is finding his way. Rob has found his way. The lob plays. The man doesn't miss shots. And he's been rebounding like a madman. And the blocks just keep on coming, man. Clingan's blocking at a big rate, and so is Rob. I think the two of them together, and Clingan has just been the reason why I watch some of these games, right? Outside of the fact that I have to watch them. But I love the Blazers. But Clingan's been an enjoyable aspect of this season. Watching a rookie 7-footer find his way in today's modern game has been awesome. And he's stayed in games. He hasn't fouled. I understand he's out now with an injury. I think the injury thing is kind of, I think the Blazers need need our guys to be injured. They need some of our guys to miss time, okay? Because there's probably a pathway where because the play of Clingan and Rob Williams, the Blazers probably could make a run. And when I say a run, that probably means just 500 basketball and have a really exciting 9-10 game in the play-in. I think the Blazers could make that happen if we wanted to. We shouldn't. So we need to scale this back, right? Maybe that's why they're holding Clingan out and being very cautious with Rob. But those two together have been amazing. DeAndre Ayton is still a big talent, and I love me some Duop Reith, right? We had a lot of Duop love last year. We haven't really seen much of Duop because of how good Clingan and Rob Williams are playing. So, I know at some point those guys will get some minutes, and maybe they will now. Obviously, they're going to have to now. Duop's going to have to play with Clingan and Rob both at hurting. So, but that's the second thing I'm most thankful for this season. The third thing, this is going to sound negative, but I promise it's not, is I'm thankful that Simons is back healthy because he needs to be traded. And, Simons, the injury that he had, I was covering that game for Blazers Edge when he kind of went down with that respiratory. It was some of his chest. It didn't look good. It wasn't no contact. It looked funky. He was out for a few games. Then it was a wrist injury or something. But I'm glad to see him back out there. He still doesn't something's off still. I've been saying this for weeks now. It's still persisting. Simons just looks uncomfortable. He doesn't look happy. His shot is not falling. Normally those 3-point shots that Simons you're just so accustomed to Anfernee nailing those shots. They're not falling, right? If we go, let's see, look at his 3-point percentage. Simons is still not really performing at the level that we're used to Anfernee, connecting at, right? I mean, he's a career 38% 3-point shooter, close to 40, 38%. Right now, 29. He's at 29%. He's 10 percentage points below his career average. And that tells me something's off mentally, which I think that means he knows he's on the way out. But I am thankful that he's healthy. I'm thankful that he's playing at a decent clip. He needs to get that 3-point percentage up. But I think teams know, right? The NBA GMs aren't stupid. They can sense when a guy isn't really into it anymore. And I think they're trading for what Simons used to be and still can be. I think for how he's playing right now has no effect on his trade market. GMs are going to use that against Cronin. Be like, oh, look how he's playing right now. So we don't need to trade you a first rounder or whatever. No. Cronin will play the patient game. But I'm thankful that Simons is here and can be traded. And I know that sounds negative, but Simons needs a home where he can be happy. He can have a starting role, maybe on a contending team. He's a 6th man off the bench. And the Blazers continue to acquire some assets because I told you that starting lineup, I'm going to say it again, is Scoot, Shaden, Tumani, Grant, and Clingan. You notice I don't mention Simons in there. So in the first guard off the bench, Delano Banton was killing it. And I'm not saying Delano's even the answer long term, but Simons isn't in there. And so I'm thankful for a trade that I think may happen sometime as we get closer to February. All right, fourth thing I'm thankful for. NBA Cup games, Emirates. I guess I have to say it. They're going to come after me if I don't. It's a reason for teams that are probably tanking, if we're just going to call it the T word, for a fan base to get locked in because the players seem really locked in, which is really fun. And it kind of gives us something to root for in season that doesn't have a big bearing on your draft position at the end of the year. So awesome for cup games. Congratulations, NBA. I think it's a really cool thing. The ratings are up a little bit, which is nice, but it gets you up for a Houston Rockets game where I'm visiting my family who lives in Houston. And we're watching the game because it was like, they're Rockets fans and I'm into it because we're both 1-0 in the NBA Cup standings, and I want us to win the group, right? I think it'd be great to win the cup and then lose out the rest of our games. So I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that the NBA has at least inserted something for us to talk about to get the players up for it. The Rockets really ran up the score at the end of the game, and that's because the point differential matters, right? Same thing when we played Minnesota. We were up 18 in that game, and people were wondering why in the heck are they challenging a 3-point foul? Like, what are we doing? There was like 30 seconds left. Well, it's because point differential matters. And so this game, probably the Blazers wouldn't have lost by as much, but the Rockets were trying, and that therefore forces us to try a little harder. So I'm all about these cup games. I want to see where it all lands. Rockets are 1-0. I was going to go through the cup standings here real quick, just in case you're like, what the heck is the cup, Corey? We haven't been paying attention to that at all. We're in Group A with the Rockets, the Clippers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the Sacramento Kings. Houston's 2-0. There's 3 teams at 1-1, Portland, Clippers, Minnesota. And then the Kings are 0-2. We play the Kings Friday night after Thanksgiving. This week, yours truly will be covering that game. So check out Blazers Edge. Watch the extended analysis there. You might learn a thing or two. And we play the Kings. So let's hope we get that dub because we need it. If we lose that game, we have no chance of winning the group. So, all right. And then the fifth and final thing that I am thankful for this Thanksgiving season, it has nothing to do with the NBA. It's 2 players that play not in the NBA. And I'm talking about Cooper Flagg and Ace Bailey. These are 2 people that I am thankful exist on this planet, that I am thankful that their parents had them at the 18, 19 years ago, however old they are, that now they're of age to be in the NBA next season, and that the Blazers are in position to draft one of these 2. I think either one. I can see how Cooper fits in if you maybe move Grant aside or maybe keep Grant for another year and keep Cooper there or whatever. And Ace, who could easily slot in anywhere. The man is incredible. So I'm curious to see where we land. Even 3 and 4 draft selection positions, 3 and 4 would not be terrible either. But 1 and 2 get you kind of thinking, like, geez, I think we have the team here for the next 12 to 15 years, provided everyone stays healthy, right? So the standings that matter, the Blazers are 7th. And I don't mean in the Western Conference. I mean 7th in the draft order right now. And so I think I've said this last time. And again, I don't mean to be negative, but this is the reality of the situation. These are the teams we're competing with, right? New Orleans at 4-14, which Zion's out for a while. CJ's back now. Can that team, are they better than 4-14? Absolutely they are. So they should start to climb. Utah 4-12. That's going to be tough for us to beat. That's going to be tough. Utah is in big time tanking mode. Then we're there at 7-11. Then you go to the East. The Wizards are 2-13. They're probably going to finish with the worst record in the NBA. You got Philly at 3-13. They're going to be better. Toronto at 4-14. They're going to be bad. And then Charlotte, who I've been on the Charlotte train. LaMelo Ball is scoring crazy right now. 50-point games, 44-point games. Brandon Miller looks like the real deal right now. And the Blazers couldn't draft him, right? He went 2 to Charlotte, and then we picked Scoot at 3. They're 6-11. They're going to be better, right? They're going to win games. So the Blazers really, we got to be in the bottom 3. Honestly, the competition right now, it's going to be between Utah, Washington, Toronto, and the Blazers. So only 3 of those 4 can be in the bottom. So we'll see where we end up there. But I am thankful for Cooper Flagg. I'm thankful for Ace Bailey, and I hope the Blazers fall and we get one of those 2, and that they stay healthy and they perform. And then we start to see what this team can be. Like, that's what we need to see, right? It's exciting to win games. I was pumped. If you heard the episode last week, I probably was way too excited. And even 2 weeks ago, we did an emergency podcast because of the cup win we had. And it's just fun to root for a winning team. But I'm telling you, it would be very short-lived if we were excited for this season and ended up with 40 games, 40 wins. We probably would win the play-in game. Nobody would want to go to Portland to play a play-in game. The environment would be wild. And the Blazers would totally win that one. That we won the first one. People don't remember because it was in the bubble. We played the Grizzlies for that play-in game, and we got it. We got the 8th seed, and we played the Lakers. So the Blazers are familiar in the play-in situation, but let's not. We don't need to be there. We need to be at the bottom. See development, be at the bottom. So anyway, that's what I'm thankful for this season. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving with your family, your friends, wherever you're going to be. If you're at the round table by yourself, or if you're at a nice long rectangle table with 35 people, whatever the situation is for you, be safe, have a good time. Watch some Blazers, catch the Kings game the night after Thanksgiving, right? I think there's a Friday night football game. Forget that. Black Friday, catch the Portland Trail Blazers playing the Sacramento Kings, and then read the extended analysis on Blazers Edge afterwards. Just, check out what I say. So, cool. Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in, for watching, for listening. YouTube, watch, listen, subscribe, all the stuff. And remember, for the late Brian Wheeler, it is a great day to be a Blazer.